Welcome back to the channel. This week we're spending our entire time with this 2025 Volkswagen Jetta GLI. Now I've got the automatic transmission version of the Jetta GLI, but honestly since it's winter and I'm not really typically a fan of the way that Volkswagen does their manual gearboxes, I am okay with letting the automatic take me around this week for the Jetta GLI. I think also the fact that they're still offering a manual on the GLI is good news. I mean, they did take it away from the Golf, but you know what? We won't talk about that. I think the Jetta GLI is very nice. It's my second time with it. I've had it back in 2021, maybe, or 2022. I don't believe I had the pleasure of the light bar, different things. I think there's a couple more badges than I remember. Anyways, still front-wheel drive, nothing crazy going on there. Still turbocharged, still quite nice. I like the red color here that I've got. I like the red brake calipers as well. They're quite nice. It's a quite nice exterior look, if I'm being honest. I do still like the front end, and you can see the red accents are a little bit more poppy out, I guess. Poppy outy, is that a word? But yeah, looks pretty cool still. But let's hop in. I'm going to give you my first impressions. Let's do it. All right, so heading out on the road for basically the second time this week since I picked it up, and yeah, it's been pretty good. And well, I have to say that I always enjoy my time with the Volkswagen Jetta GLI specifically. The Jetta is nice, but I just think the GLI kind of takes it to that point where I become a fan of it. It's kind of like, you know, I'm not always a fan of Volkswagen. I like the Golfs and I like the Jettas, and everything in between is kind of like eh. The ID Buzz, though, is an exception to that. I think it's very cool. But the Jetta is still on my list of cars that I still enjoy driving, that I still think are cool. And I'm glad it's still around. And I mean, like I said, it's even offered in a manual transmission, which you do not see very often. For whatever reason, they took it away from the Golfs and they left it on the Jetta. I couldn't tell you why, and I'm not even going to pretend like I understand why they would do that. But anyways, that's what it is. I've got it in the automatic, which I think in a vehicle like this, the Jetta, I think I would probably always option the automatic. Now, I'll tell you, there's a few things that, you know, I can already tell just from driving it twice, basically, that need some more love, right? Like the exterior got a little bit of a redesign, you know, it looks a little cleaner, a little sharper. That's all great, but when you hop into the interior, that's when it's like, okay, so we didn't do very much since the last time I was in here. For one, this infotainment screen is just dated. The software in it is dated. It works. It's not slow or anything. It's just dated, and it shows. And also, like the swiping gesture thing that it tries to get you to do when it gives you the little hand signal doesn't work. Never has. Don't think it ever will. And that's fine. I just feel like it just needs to be, like, there's these huge, like, black bezels. It's just not in line with what the current market is. And I think if Volkswagen with the Jetta wants to stay competitive, you have to update these things. But we'll go over all of that in depth a little bit later. I'll kind of show you exactly what I'm talking about here. But the driving overall has been the same as I remember it. Like I said, I did it in 2022, I think 2022 or 23. And I really did enjoy the experience. And back then I wasn't expecting it. I wasn't really aware of, you know, what the Jetta GLI was, or, you know, what it could do, or really anything like that. So this time around, when it came up on my list, I was like, okay, I know what to expect this time, and I'm actually excited for it, because the Jetta GLI is really responsive in terms of, like, you know, it's a car that can get up and go. It's a normal everyday car that can get up and go, and I really appreciate vehicles that are still doing this and that are not electric, right? Because electric kind of get a little bit boring. Now there is pumped in audio, you can hear it. That's pumped in. It's not actually the engine doing that noise. You can turn it off. I think you can turn it low in custom mode so that you don't hear it too much, obviously. But if you can't beat them, might as well join them. I mean, look at the new Dodge. It's got a speaker that's pumping outside audio. So look, I turn it on. Why not? It's okay. We'll live with it here. And yeah, I just think it's a quite fun vehicle. Like, in terms of handling, it's not the most connected. It's not the most communicative steering wheel experience. But I wasn't expecting that. The dampers, though, I will say are good. We do have adaptive dampers in here, and it is pretty good at, you know, making the bumps feel less bumpy, if that makes sense. Especially here in Quebec, where the potholes are increasingly worse because our weather was terrible this winter, so potholes are bad. So as we go uphill onto the ramp here, just sort of a highway here, Got it in sport mode. Somebody not doing the speed limit properly right next to me. Alrighty. So yeah, you can kind of hear like the pumped in audio sounds that sound okay, right? I mean, they're not terrible. I've also got like this Beats audio system, which is like, at first when I heard it, I was like, okay, it's not bad. Now that I've listened to it for a little bit, I really have to crank the volume to get any type of like good feeling out of the system, you know, I want to say. So meh, it's not that great, but it's better than your base stuff, right? Like, it's better than what probably comes on the base Jetta GLI. So you are kind of getting a little boost in terms of what your money's worth there. So that's not too bad either. I also like this shifter. I like how it's kind of raised. I feel like it's raised to be kind of in line with what the manual transmission was. So I do enjoy that. I think that's quite nice, actually. I like having something to hold on while I drive, even if I'm not driving the manual transmission. Here, let's pull a little U-turn here. Legal U-turn, I have to add. Here we go. And back the other way. It's really not that bad, and you can hear the turbo spool up. I don't think that one's pumped in. You can hear it. Also, the thing is, it's like, I think a couple of people will compare this to like the Elantra and the Type R. I don't know if it's on paper or even just in person really close to either one of those vehicles. Price point is really good. It's competitive in that sense, but I think if you option one of those two vehicles, you will get a more engaging and more fun experience, especially with the Elantra N. But this is still kind of thereabouts. It's kind of like the third tier kind of thing. If you want something that's a sedan, that's not the hatchback, but you still kind of want the VW performance out of it, then the Jetta GLI is very much still there. We're still kicking around in it. I think that's pretty cool. So I'm going to take you through the whole week with this thing. I'm going to show you everything inside, outside, trunk space, you name it. You're going to see it in this video. So I'll pick it back up later on during the week. All right, back outside in the rain with the Jetta GLI. Another quick walk around, and it's a little cleaner actually because the rain is actually cleaning it. I really got to tell you, I really like this red. Even though there's already that kind of red accent on the bottom there, I do like the red, and I do like the front end redesign. I find it a lot more sleeker, a lot cleaner. It doesn't look that weird. I've heard people say it looks weird. To me, it looks really good. Side profile looks really good. I like the red on red with the brake calipers, really cool. Would have been cool to see maybe like a GLI in the brake caliper, but that's just wishful thinking, I guess. It would have cost more money. But I also do like now the light bar in the back with the Jetta GLI badge, and we do have exhausts. Not much of a diffuser, but exhaust, I'll take it, especially at this price point. You know what? I really can't hate on what they've done here, but this red is a really, really good red for this car. I think this is the way I would take it, but I want to know what you think. Which way would you take it? Would you switch out the wheels? Would you add anything? Would you take this color? Would you change the color? What is your thoughts for this Jetta GLI? Let me know. Let's actually check out the interior while we're here. So let's hop right in here. Sit on down. That noise is pretty brutal when it does that. It's a pretty old sounding noise too, but once you're actually seated inside here, you can see we're greeted by this nice GLI Volkswagen steering wheel. Got the GLI badge, the red accent. I do like that. We've got the same kind of like haptic feedback buttons on the steering wheel that you're used to seeing, but this time I have a heated steering wheel. I remember last time I showed you the Jetta GLI, I had to really zoom in, and there was a heated steering wheel button, but it wasn't activated, it wasn't lit up. And if you got really close to it though, you could see it because they use the same pattern for pretty much all the steering wheels at this point. So they just kind of take away stuff like that. But now we've got it. I'm not taking credit for it. I did ask for it when I drove it, but we do have it. We do have some plastic paddle shifters, but still got paddle shifters nonetheless. I do like the design, though. I like the red with kind of the gray. It looks a little bit more upscaled than what I remember driving, so that's nice. Like, you can see the passenger seat right here. It's got black with the red stitching and then a little bit of gray in between. It looks pretty cool. Same thing with the dash. Piano black is kind of a thing here, but honestly, I don't care. You can see also we've got the Beats audio system speakers right there, which isn't terrible. It's obviously not the highest of quality, but it's not bad. Digital gauge cluster hasn't changed too much. You can customize kind of the view and stuff, and what's on the left and right hand side, also what's in the middle. You can really change the information. That's something that's really cool about Volkswagen. They do it really well, where you can customize your gauge cluster, kind of make it your own. My pain point, and that's what I was talking about in the beginning of the video, the weak point is just this infotainment. I mean, it just looks dated with these huge bezels that are piano black. Like, it's hard to wrap my head around it. We also have like these gesture controls, or you see they don't work, or they don't for me anyways. Also, this volume knob really bothers me because look, that's not supposed to do that. That should be turning around it, not now I have to turn it back straight, otherwise it's going to bother me and everybody else. But yeah, so there's just things like that. I do like that there's quick access stuff. That's nice. And, you know, the overall like look of the software is not really changed that much in the new stuff, so it's not that bad. But I like how you can kind of change your digital cockpit from here. You can change the widgets and stuff from there. It's pretty neat. Wireless Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, built-in navigation, stuff like that. Climate control is very basic, very, very basic in terms of that, because we do have controls here. I do like that we have quick controls, although they're touch controls. I still like that they're there. In some Volkswagens now, they're completely taking it away. So I'm happy to see these are here. Heated and ventilated seats. So I believe that's maybe an upgrade too. I don't remember if I had it. But I do have wireless charging pad, USB-C ports only here. And then I've got engine start stop. I like how, like I was saying before, you can see up close now, this shifter is kind of raised because it does kind of, when I'm driving or when I have my hand right here, I do kind of feel like it should have been a manual transmission. And there's also like a huge space where there could have been a clutch pedal. So I do kind of like how raised this thing is. It feels very nice if you're somebody that holds this when you drive. It's just a habit I have. I've also got drive modes, so I've got Eco, Comfort, Normal, Sport, and Custom. Usually I'm in Custom, and you can adjust it. You can see we've got the DCC and Comfort, Steering, Drivetrain, Engine Sound, that's the pumped-in stuff, the ACC, and Climate Control. Most of it in Sport, except for the DCC I have in Comfort, which is very cool. But yeah, if they could just give this area a little bit of love, I think it would make it a lot more competitive in the segment. We've also got a sunroof right here. It is not power operated for the shade. It is manual, but that's no big deal. I like that it is there anyways. You can see baby seat in the back seat. Not a ton of room back there, especially where I'm sitting in the driver's seat. It's not a big sedan by any means, but there's enough room that you could sit somebody back there with the baby, no problem. And also, she's pretty comfortable back there too. There is heated seats back there, which is also very nice. There's a bit of ambient lighting in here as well that you can change the color. You can kind of see it more at nighttime, or you can kind of see it now. Actually, it's right kind of under there. You see the underglow right there. Pretty nice. I really, actually, going back to the steering wheel quick, because we're all over the place today, I do like the steering wheel. I kind of like how it kind of jets out here, so you can hold it very well. The feeling of it's good. The size of it's good. The thickness. It's a very good steering wheel by all means. Maybe not communicative, but a good steering wheel anyways. So let's actually mount this up. I got a ton of time today, so let's mount this up and let's just take it for a little rip. Why not? All right, so heading back out onto the road, because I mean, I've had a bit more time with the Jetta, and I got a little bit more thoughts. There's some things that I've noticed it's just weird with it, and again, these are press cars, right? So you never know if it's a press car thing or it's an actual problem, because like right now, I'll kind of show you, so now I'm gonna come to a full stop, right? The auto start stop system is off, and the throttle response from a dead stop is really weird. It's as if it sticks. It feels like sometimes I have to put a lot more pressure on the gas pedal to really get it to go. And then when I do that, it kind of goes way faster than I was intending. It's a weird thing that keeps happening. When I come to a full stop, my auto brake hold is not on from what I can tell. And I notice it really does it when the auto start stop system is off. I'll tell you right now, this auto start stop system, one of the worst I've ever seen. I don't like it at all. The way it's super interruptive, and it tries to predict the shutdown way too early. I feel like the car is going off before I even fully depress the gas pedal. If it detects it's trying to come to a stop, it's almost turning it off. So it does this weird thing where it turns on and off. I don't like it, and I always disable it the second I get into the car. There is some start-stop systems that I don't mind, that I'll keep on for the whole week, and I won't even really notice them because they're pretty seamless. This one's not seamless, and it's just annoying. And if you own the car, you're going to know exactly what I'm talking about, and you will be turning it off. So far, driving-wise, those are the only two issues that bother me. Other than that, it's a very solid daily driver. It's a solid daily driver that has some sportiness to it, that has some pep to it. That's not just plain Jane. It does maybe look a little bit like all the other Jettas in the traffic kind of thing. If to the untrained eye, maybe the people, don't know anything about Volkswagen are not necessarily going to be like, oh man, that's the Jetta. I don't think it has that kind of appeal. Certainly the color helps. The red color is definitely a plus, but I do like it for the fact that it's not boring. The dual clutch is actually very good. I like the way that it behaves. Reminds me a lot of my 2018 Hyundai Elantra Sport that was also a dual clutch. You don't see too many dual clutches now around either, which is, it's just nice to still have a little bit of an enthusiast thing at a price point that's actually quite competitive, quite reasonable, right? With if you don't have the money to go Type R or Elantra N, this is kind of like that perfect third tier that you're still going to be able to have a little bit of fun with. That's really, really important to me as somebody who, you know, I'm not in the market for, you know, an Audi or anything like that. If I was to buy an enthusiast car, my number one would be the Elantra N. That's the one that I've honestly been looking at to do some content on, just as from an owner's perspective. So it's what I would do. But the cool thing is, if I pop this thing into like its transmission sport mode, I put it all the way in sport mode, like obviously a good amount of turbo lag, but like it gets up and moves. Like it really does. It actually gets up and moves a lot better than my 2018 Elantra Sport. It's got a little bit more horsepower. I think it's like 228 horsepower, 258 pound-feet of torque from a 2-liter 4-cylinder turbocharged engine, which is pretty good. I don't hate those numbers at all. I really think it's a solid place to start. Maybe like if you want to mod this thing, it's a very solid platform to start on. And it's a really smooth ride. Like you can have it adjusted so that everything's in sport and then your dampers are in comfort, and like, you know, you're extremely comfortable the whole time, and you know, you can kind of rip around in the thing. I think that's awesome. So let's see what we got. We're gonna get a little bit more active with the roads here, talk a little bit more about handling just in a second here. See, that time I didn't really get the throttle sticking because I wasn't going, I don't think I fully needed to stop there. But here we go. Let's get some turning angle in here. Full. Oh yeah, okay. Like it's not communicative at all, but I like the tightness of the steering wheel, and I like how the body roll's relatively kept in check here. Like I do see it's pretty decent, and I just like the dampers. I just like I'm going over bumpy roads, and I like how the ride is still relatively comfortable. Like it's very nice, and like even when I'm kind of turning around here, giving it some gas in corners, it's like responsive as any kind of sporty vehicle that you want, that you could also daily drive. Like, you know, it's not super dialed in, but honestly, you'll be happy if you're just like a normal enthusiast. You know, you like a little bit of pep in your vehicle's step. This is all you need. I don't really see a reason to go much higher than that, especially if you're looking for, especially if budget is on your mind, especially if money's a worry and you want something still like decent. That's pumped in audio that you're hearing. I don't know if you can hear it. Here, let's floor it. You'll hear it. So that's all pumped in. It does sound good, but it does kind of create like a rattle. There's a weird rattle going on in this quadrant of the vehicle. I don't know if it's usually when the pumped in audio gets quite high, when my revs get quite high. Look, I don't mind the pumped in audio, it's okay. But you can turn it off, which is nice. Or you can turn it lower in sport mode if you just want to hear the exhaust, but there isn't much to hear back there. So that's it for now for like driving dynamics and stuff like that. We'll pick it back up later, check out the engine, different things like that. And yeah, we'll end off the week in not too long. I will pick it back up a little bit later. All right, so got the hood open. The Jetta GLI, you can see we've got the TSI badge, so it's the 2-liter 4-cylinder TSI turbocharged engine, which is pretty cool. It's got 228 horsepower, 258 pound-feet of torque, and I've got the dual clutch automatic transmission in here. So pretty good layout here. You can kind of see everything. Doesn't look that hard to work on, but I'm not a mechanic, so I couldn't tell you. The mechanics in the comments are gonna have to let me know how easy or hard this thing would be to work on, should you want to mod it. Doesn't look too bad for me. Doesn't look like, you know, things are that hard to reach, but again, I have no idea. So you let me know in the comments what you think, but overall, pretty nice looking engine. I do like that they have the engine cover and the TSI badge right there. That's a plus. Sometimes you don't even get that with a lot of the cars now, so I like that that's there. But let me know what you think. What do you think of the horsepower and torque, and you dual clutch or manual? Which one are you getting? All right, so welcome back outside for the final time with the Volkswagen Jetta GLI. It has been a simple week, an easy week with it, because it's a daily driver that can get up and go. Now, would I choose it over the Honda Civic SI? I'll let you know once I actually hop in the driver's seat for the final time. But I do like the little updates they've done on the exterior. I like the light bar now. I like that they show the exhaust, a slight diffuser there as well. But it's nothing too crazy. It's nothing too over the top. which is what you want if you kind of want to stay under the radar yet have a decent amount of speed. I also really like the red. I think that's the color I choose it in, despite having an already red accent right there. I still think the red is a super nice color as the train passes, so let's just hop in and I'll give you my final impressions. Let's do it. All right, so final time this week in the vehicle, or in the Jetta GLI, and look, it's been like a solid week. It's just been like exactly what the car is marketed as, a daily driver that's got a decent amount of get up and go. It doesn't look like anything special. It doesn't look like your boy Racer in the Honda Civic SI. It just kind of looks like it's under the radar. It looks like every other Jetta in traffic, and I think that's the point. Now, obviously, enthusiasts and fans of the Volkswagen brand and stuff will know the difference between a regular Jetta and a GLI. They'll know what to look for, but, you know, the average person is simply just not going to realize that kind of thing. And that's completely fine, because you just want to be under the radar, but when you want to have your little burst of speed, minus the turbo lag, you have it, and it's absolutely there. And the car will play with you, right? Like, the handling is not the most communicative thing in the world. I think the Civic SI has it beat there as well. But, yeah, it's just fun. I mean, it's just a vehicle that will play when you want to and be completely like a cruiser also when you want to. Like, I can throw this thing into comfort mode and it's just a boat. It'll take me from here to, I don't know, the nursing home, the grocery store, you name it. Wherever you want to go, you can do it. And you can be comfortable when you do it. And then when you really want to have some fun and take some aggressive turns or drive really fast, then it's there for you too. And I like that. Now, when it comes to the interior, it does need some love. It needs some work. It needs some serious, because I think Volkswagen are in the process of trying to figure out what it is they want to do with the infotainment, because clearly what they're doing now just simply doesn't work. I am a fan, though, that the HVAC controls are not tied to the infotainment display. That's a huge plus for me, because a lot of the modern Volkswagens, like the Atlas and stuff like that, it's all tied into the infotainment system, and then the quick access buttons are not good. They're touch and they're not good. These ones are not great, but at least it's not tied. Like, I don't have to use this, the system. I'm not like forced into it, and I think that's pretty good. So overall, for the money, I think you get a pretty premium experience with a decent little Volkswagen engine in it. Reliability-wise, I'm just not able to speak to it because for a week I've had no glitches or check engine lights or anything strange go on, so I really can't tell you about that part of things. But as far as I'm concerned, I think this should be relatively reliable. But if I had to choose between the Jetta GLI and the Civic SI, I'm still going to do the Civic SI. Funny enough, I have the Civic SI booked here in a couple weeks, so stay tuned for that video, and you'll see just why I like that car so much. With that being said, make sure you like and subscribe for more living with videos just like this one. I'll see you next week. See you in the next car. Take care.